So what might be the way forward, if any, in light of all these intractable differences, the unspeakable depravity of the crimes in question, the utter cowardice and prevarication of the liberal elite, and the betrayal of the working class? Does such a way exist, even in principle, even if optimism is allowed to be our guiding light? It is not at all obvious that the answer is yes, but there are genuine glimmerings of hope, not least within the Islamic world itself. During his interview with Farage, Winston Marshall highlighted a series of positive developments on the international scene. The Muslim countries heading the Abraham Accords, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco may well be heading a true move to a peaceful and cooperative future, not only in the Middle East, but to equally vital control of the worst excesses of the hypothetically fundamentalist Islamist hypocrites. Had the short-sighted and politically expedient Biden administration been willing to grant Donald Trump the least bit of credit for this remarkable development and continued the process, Saudi Arabia would have also been a signatory. That could still happen given the administrative change in the US. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, has stated his opposition to the Islamist extremists in a very blunt manner. He stated quite recently in Riyadh that he would destroy them today, that he wants to coexist with the world, and that his state would represent the moderate teachings and principles of Islam, with the right being on his side. The UAE's Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed has been even more provocative and forthright, stating, "There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and Islam far better than we do," an attitude of pure ignorance. This means that there are leaders within the Islamic community itself, not without influence, seeking to diversify and modernize their respective states, who are already more willing than their Western counterparts, both to admit to the existence of the psychopathic manipulators cloaking themselves in the guise of pure religious Islamic fundamentalism, and to exercise severe control over their machinations. Equally moderate attitudes could be fostered among the Muslim immigrants to the West. That would mean, however, that Western leaders would have to bite the bullet, as their moderate Islamic counterparts already have, and help separate the wheat from the chaff within the Muslim immigrant communities themselves. This will be of great and true benefit not only to the moderates within those enclaves, but to those Westerners called upon to share cultural, economic, and social space with them. That would be the working class. As well as to the moderate Islamic world internationally, whose leaders are endeavoring to do the same thing. This would mean justly and courageously identifying, pursuing, and incarcerating or deporting the bad actors. This would mean applying the law of the land to the presumably oppressed and victimized newcomers, precisely as it is applied to citizens of longer standing. This would mean firmly and unapologetically noting where Western traditions, legal and otherwise, clash with the axioms of authoritarian intolerance. This would mean withstanding the accusations of Islamophobia, far-right affiliation, and the associated risk of reputation destruction, demolition of career, and general cancellation that the leftist revolutionaries and the cowards and appeasers of the right are so happily willing to inflict. This would also mean, finally, publicly admitting to the mass rape of hundreds of thousands of British girls, the investigation of the causes of such atrocious behavior, and the meting out of severe and certain punishment, not only to the perpetrators, who are truly beyond the pale and must be treated as such, but to the enablers and allies who turned a blind ear for their ease and their reputation, when called upon to open their eyes, speak their piece truthfully, and defend their less fortunate compatriots. This is a terrible pathway forward, made palatable perhaps not only by the even more intolerable fact of the alternative: capitulation to the worst of men, cloaking themselves in the guise of the divine, swearing enmity to the West and to free women, posing true danger to the poor and marginalized, and threatening not only the free societies of the world, but those who are striving toward freedom within the many countries who remain unsustainably repressive and authoritarian.